A one and a two and a chick-a-boom a chick.
We're a boutique. We're high end. We care about the process. Cool. But does your website say that or just say you do kitchens and baths? At CGN, they help you show it, not just say it. Because here's the thing, if your website doesn't clearly explain how you work and why that matters, you're just another remodeler with a pretty photo gallery. And that's not how premium clients make decisions. CGN helps remodelers build trust before the first call by guiding potential clients through your unique approach, your values, and what they can expect. They specialize in generating online referral quality leads with marketing that you'll be proud to show off. If you're tired of hearing, we went with someone cheaper, go to contractorgrowthnetwork.com where your process becomes your competitive edge. Welcome, everybody, to the Remodelers on the Rise show. Ooh, I'm feeling frisky today. I rolled my R there. Can you do that, Peter?
Not going to try.
Not even going to try. Do you know?
I've never heard you do that.
I know. Well, when you record a couple hundred podcasts, you got to keep things fresh. You don't want it to be too predictable. You don't want people to be like, oh, I already know what he's going to say. You got to keep it loose. And frankly, I guess it's a hidden talent of mine to be able to roll my R's. Now, you don't have to do it, but you're telling me you've never even tried it?
Well, you just got rested off vacation. I haven't had vacation in like a couple months, so
Somebody did tell me yesterday that I had a little different energy going, and I think it's
good
continuing here. So I'm talking to a friend, a client, a colleague, Peter Ranney with Ranney Blair Weidman Remodeling down in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. We have been 94, 95 degrees up here in Michigan, like summertime in Atlanta hot, and we want to send it back to you.
Yeah, well, we've got it here, so nothing to send back.
Well, we'll give you a little more. So we're gonna talk today on marketing. Marketing is something that we need to continually be talking about. It is a hat. As you remodelers are listening to this, there are a lot of different hats that you wear in your business. And frankly, over the last number of years, the marketing one may have kind of just been off to the side a little bit. It hasn't been as prevalent and important because leads have been pretty solid. Sales have been pretty solid for a decent chunk of time. Over the last year, that's shifted a little bit. Not that the demand for remodeling has gone away or that we need to be in a panic or any kind of free fall, but as wise remodelers, we need to be proactively thinking about marketing regularly. So what we wanted to talk to Peter about today is related in particular to his online marketing, his website, his web presence, his video marketing, his online, all things online marketing. So we're going to dig into that. And Peter, why don't you just do a little quick intro on you, your business, and maybe just kind of a little bit about how you think about marketing.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, Peter Ranney, managing partner, Ranney Blair Weidman down here in Atlanta, Georgia. Started our company in 2014 and recently, about 2 years ago, consolidated with another local remodeler. So kind of, bigger, got more kind of broad breadth experience as far as the jobs that we can take on and stuff like that, and really enhanced our client experience on the front side. So marketing wise, we've always tried to, the book that always inspires me is They Ask You Answer. So that's kind of been the spring from which kind of the thought process of marketing comes from for us. And through the years, it's modified, adapted. And as we brought on, Dan, my new business partner, right, he had a different philosophy and it wasn't the same, especially with online presence. So it's been good just to kind of refresh and go through those conversations again, understand what are we trying to do, who are we trying to reach, and are we reaching them?
Got it. They Ask You Answer, that's Marcus Sheraton, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I bet you he's a pretty quirky guy. He probably has started a podcast before by rolling his R. He's kind of
Might be
weird.
original. I don't know.
He's kind of weird like that. Good. So there's that, and we're going to talk a bit today about CGN, Contractor Growth Network, because they've been kind of your main partner when it comes to the website side of things. So you've been working with them for a few years. Talk about maybe your marketing, your website, what it looked like before you kind of connected with CGN, some of those pain points, and maybe also just how you kind of came across them and started working with them.
Yeah, so we've worked with CGN for roughly 2.5 years, give or take. Not, don't remember exact math, but it's been a good ride so far. And previous to them, I did the website myself. Right, as a contractor, we think we can do everything ourselves. I think we're kind of like builders by nature. Why not build a website? So I kind of use your traditional the Wix and the Squarespace. I think is the other one. A couple other things, and kind of transition and we're at the point is kind of we're at kind of probably around like $3 million, and we're looking to really kind of like take the next step, right? Modify our client base and really try to attract something different. And again, going back to the book, I was reading the book They Ask You Answer, and I was using a lot of the kind of the tips, tools, how to build things. So I was doing all this myself, and it's got to a point I was like, there's a ceiling that I can't reach that I want to with my own inability to build a website. And I went to Job Tread Connect, the first one. Logan was there with his team. And I've watched a lot of stuff with Logan over the years. He puts out a lot of great content, a lot of free content, which is great. And I got a lot of inspiration from him. But really to start talking to him. And the first conversation we had, I started talking about the book. And they go, yeah, I love that book. I actually know Marcus really well. It's like, whoa, what? And, all of us have talked to a lot of marketing companies before. Not saying anything bad about any of them, but it's just hard to find your people sometimes, right? And that was just like one of those moments like, oh my gosh, like they get what I'm trying to accomplish. I'm not trying for fast clicks. I'm not trying for like tricks or just, kind of maybe some of the things that are out there, but it's like they get it. They get the heart of what I want to do is we want to serve the people we talk to. Not everybody we talk to is going to be a paying client for us, and that's okay. But I'm still happy to talk to them and point them in the right direction. And so that was really the start of our relationship. Started just kind of smaller, just doing some SEO stuff. We hired him some video stuff, and then became obviously apparent like we need to give them our website and we got to rebuild. And there's a little bit of like my baby, so it hurt a little bit. It's like I love going in there tinkering around, and I'd always talk with Paul McManus. We tinker our websites together. It's kind of like one of those little pet projects, but I haven't looked back really. It's been a great website, and we're just went through an exercise with Logan to kind of really go through our unique selling proposition and make sure it's really baked into what we do, because the way we approach. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to dig into that USP here in a second, but going back to a couple of things you said, one of kind of being on the same wavelength. I think when it comes to, if I'm a remodeling company and my most kind of my central hub of all of my marketing efforts is my website, is my online presence. It's a very important element of your overall business. And I think a lot of times remodelers, because they don't know a lot about the website world and search engine optimization, or they've had bad experiences in the past, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to pay you some money. I'm going to wash my hands of it and let you roll with it. I think, you naturally were already doing website related stuff, but when you are partnering up with a website provider, you need to know enough to hire wisely. You need to know enough to recognize kind of what you're looking for. In your case, what you were looking for is, man, the wavelength clicked when you went, we want our website to educate. We want to build know, like, and trust. We want to build relationship with our ideal clients, / even if they're not an ideal client right now, they could come to our website and still understand more about the remodeling process, about how it works, about what it costs, about the steps to consider, seeing examples of it. And that type of marketing for just remodelers in the year 2025, 2026 and beyond, we as remodelers, we're in the education business. Yes, we're in the construction business. Yes, we're selling projects, but we are in the education. The more you educate and teach, the more you are viewed as an expert, the more know, like, and trust you build, and people, when they are ready, will reach out to you. And when they reach out to you, just like what you were saying, Peter, and they're not necessarily an ideal client, you still lean in and serve them. and you're still going to help them. How can I help the person in front of you? No, we are not going to be unwise and spend hours and hours and hours of our time for free. But whoever is in front of you, you serve them well. Give them that 15-minute conversation, that 20-minute conversation. Send them the link to some content you created to help them along in understanding the remodeling process. So I just wanted to touch base on that of kind of, one, finding that partner like you were mentioning, but also that heart of what you were trying to do with your marketing efforts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody, we all want like only the best leads, right? We don't want any of the other people, but that's just not the way it works. You cast a wide net, you're going to get stuff in the net that is not ideal.
Yeah. Yeah. So go back to before you guys are kind of doing some reiteration of things, but speaking of the process, just like the remodeling process is a little, how does this work to a new prospect? I think the website strategy and content and video and all of that is a little murky. Tell us your experience kind of going through that with Contractor Growth Network, with CGN, kind of how that worked, and kind of the strategy and the process of it.
Well, certainly it has to be tailored to what you are as a business, and for us, we're a design build firm, so we're design first, and that's part of our approach, and it's a heavy part of our approach because we're trying to establish what should we be designing, and so what we went through with them really is trying to back to how do we answer the questions that people have, because ultimately, from a sales perspective, I think Sandler pushes like let's get to know fast. Kind of like flip that over a little bit, and it's like, let's find out like what would stop them from working with us, not like today, but like what would stop them from working with us. Well, let's try to spearhead that with the website and understand, hey, here's how we're going to work together, or here's fears you may have. Can I live in my house during a renovation, right? How long is it going to take? All the basic things for sure. But as we went through deeper, it's like you start hitting on things, and we as remodelers, we do this all the time, so we were kind of like callous, I suppose, and you don't realize like the fears people have picking up the phone to call someone for a $500,000. That's a lot of like, some people want to order takeout on the phone. It's like you're going to call it, and so having the website really described like very specifically, we're really focused on the services. So it's less about like having like the process page for us. It's more of someone's going to look for a kitchen remodel. Let's drive what are the fears around kitchen remodeling and how we as a company serve the clients. It's less about step one, step two, step three. This is what we do. We're the world's greatest company ever. We're the world's greatest company ever for our clients, right? And that's what we're trying to figure out is the clients that are our people, right? It meshes with them.
So you did a lot of work around number one, who your ideal client is, what your ideal project is, and then kind of got into a little bit more of the psychographics, I think is how we refer to it as, of like, what's the emotions that they're feeling? What are the fears that they're feeling? You mentioned a couple of them there briefly, but what are some of the other ones that kind of were recurring or that you tried to embed into some of your content and your website?
Well, I made a whole slide, so I'm happy to share that too.
Ooh, you have a slide?
Well, I can, however you want to share it later. That's fine.
Hey, folks, if you're watching this, congratulations! You're looking at two of the most handsome gentlemen that you could find. Let's show them our hairlines too. Oh yeah, baby. If you're watching the video, you just saw it. You just saw why we wear hats. And then if you're listening to this recording, I bet you, if you look in the show notes, there's going to be a slide or two that we'll link to for you. So that's great. But yeah, go ahead and kind of share some of the things that you had prepped. 5P. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. This man came prepared to share and teach us today, folks.
Well, I mean, certainly dust, right, is a big part of people's like, how dusty is going to be. Can I live in the house? Let's see. I've actually pulled up so I can like refresh my memory here.
Sure.
Uncertainty about what's possible, right? You've been on sales calls and you hear like, well, someone else told me it's load bearing, can't move it. It's like, totally can. So, what's possible, visualizing what the result's going to be, and kitchens or bathrooms specifically, like concerned about people pushing things on them, like trends or something like that. Where's another one again? I saw the kitchen.
Yeah, but so you kind of uncovered those. You guys worked kind of together to discover those.
We spent a couple hours on it.
Yeah. And then you're taking that and going, okay, how do we kind of incorporate some of that into our content and into our messaging?
Yes. Yeah. Specifically, right? Not just because there's the ideal client, and then there's all these other like really like in a bathroom, right? People worried about natural light, or worried about, is my shower going to leak again? That kind of stuff. Or, dust protection for us, like we build temporary walls and put actual really heavy plastic or some kind of like, right. And so it's good. My house is going to be dusty. Yeah, it might be dusty. We're not going to promise it's not, but like, oh, here's a picture of what we do to help minimize it and mitigate it. So
I
those
think
kind of things.
something to keep in mind when you're creating content for your website, yes, it's good for the early marketing and they're getting to know you. They come to your website, but a page that's really showing your dust mitigation and your process for that is an excellent thing that you can link to on social media content. It's an excellent thing that early in your actual sales process, maybe you have that initial conversation and over the next week, you drip out a couple emails that are just linking to pages specific to some of those fears that people might have. So keep in mind, as you create content and your messaging, there's a lot of different ways that you can use and reuse it in your sales and marketing. The other thing that you're hammering here is strategy before tactics. Strategy before tactics. Marketing, in my definition, is getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you. And there's a lot of also focus around let's get clear on the strategy. Our ideal client, our ideal project, their fears and their concerns, what they're looking for, what attracts them, what repels them, and good strategy will attract your ideal client and will kind of repel your non-ideal client. I think a lot of times when it comes to website development, that strategy part can kind of just be glossed over. Well, what pages do we want to create? CGN like digs into that in a deep way. And so you're really focused on the strategy before the tactics, before the pages, before the SEO, etc.
Well, I like that too, because even like the tactics, that's about like, how do we actually serve our clients? And if it's about us, we're not, you're kind of maybe not served. So it's like, if we're saying we do this, great, but you do that to address what? Right? That's the emotional connection we can make with our potential clients, of connecting that together. And now they see, oh, we do this because we build extra dust protection so that you can live into your house and you don't have to interrupt your kids' school scheduling or whatever it is like that.
Yeah. Speaking of school scheduling, I mean, summertime. I'm working from home today. You may have noticed. Why you're not in your office? I'm working from home. My wife's working at church, and then my 17-year-old daughter, I think she just it's almost like she just lives her life and just informs us of what's going on. I don't think that's good parenting, but she just whisked through, and she didn't know I was recording a podcast, and she's waving to me and clunking her ice water around. I think she's going to see her boyfriend who is out of town for 5 days. She misses him so much. His name's Isaac. He's super nice. He's super tall. And for some reason, I struggle with this sweet daughter of mine dating Peter. Boys sometimes aren't the greatest. You know what I mean?
They're not.
Anyway, sorry, I got distracted by that. Back to the process, the strategy. So a lot of strategy. So when you think through the process with CGN, we got through a lot of the strategy, a lot of them, and started to kind of develop into the messaging. Talk to me about kind of the next few steps so that people can kind of understand how this is properly done.
Well, there's certainly a lot of work in like what the menu should look like the architecture, I guess, so to speak, right? Where things should go. How do people navigate? Where do we want them to end up? Because let's face it, most people are not reading most of the pages. Unfortunately, I wish they were. But it's like, how do we get them? Ultimately, we want to capture them if they are our people, right? If they are our ideal client, how do we figure out how to capture them? So it's really kind of an emotional, taking them through an emotional journey, because remodeling is an irrational spend, mostly, right? We're working in nice houses, nice things, and we're updating things that functionally work just fine. So how do we tie the emotional part of it and the passion of it? So that's part of like using different languages, and that's where they helped us massage the wording that we had. That was just kind of more of like a brass tacks, like 1-0 is like, look, just march them through. So kind of take them through this journey of how we're going to work together. So I found it helps. Marketing and sales are the same thing, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
So those are intertwined. And so when we actually go to the home visit or talk to them on the phone, right, it's also a selling opportunity to say, certainly, have you checked our website? No, I haven't. Okay, great. Or so if they haven't, great, it's an opportunity. Let's look at it together. Or if they have, great, what'd you like? So it's just uncovering and opening more doors of conversation to have with your prospects to figure out, are they your client?
Yeah. So when I go to Ranney Blair, if you go to Ranney, Ranney, Blair, BLAIR.com, you'll find Peter's website. When I look at the menu, big focus on the services and kind of breaking those out real specific. Obviously people are coming for not just remodeling, they're coming for a kitchen remodel. They're coming for a home addition. They're coming for a bathroom remodel. So really focusing on that. It looks like you put some heavy emphasis on featured projects in your menu and your showroom. What's kind of the strategy behind kind of featuring those as kind of some main places you want them to click?
Well, the featured projects is something we were doing previous to, and I should say this because Logan and I talk about this a good bit, is like the website should represent you and who you are. It's the same thing. Like this idea of like, I'm only a referral business, and that's awesome. That's great. The website should also mimic that. And so that's what the idea is with the feature project. It's mimicking the same way a referral would talk to their friend or neighbor about their job. So it's a more in-depth, we're uncovering the background, the objective, the challenges, the solutions, like all the different mixes of what we did on that project and how we produced the project. Because we're not doing cookie cutter jobs. We're remodeling people's houses. And even if two people have the exact same house, they have different needs. So we're going to do a different remodel. And that's what the feature project goes through.
Yeah. If you're, it's a great best practice. And I know CGN's a huge proponent of it, you click on it, you're going to see a brief overview of the project. You're going to see the budget, the timeline, location. You're going to see the challenges, which is super interesting. People can pull up these featured projects and kind of see their own project in them. And that's a super powerful thing. They can see the before and after. But again, also good marketing, good sales, frankly, a good website, kind of walks them through step by step. Down here, we show the design. Here's what we did in the design phase. Here's what we did in the build phase. Here's what we did in the enjoy phase. Here's the solution, the after shots. So if you're a remodeler who's not taking the time, frankly, to kind of create these featured projects, that is good SEO, because you get a lot of keywords mixed in here as well, and strategy there, but also people gravitate towards these featured projects.
We put these in print too. I know this is not a print podcast, but we take this to our home visits. So I have 4, 5, 6 of them, whatever, and it's great fodder again for conversation about things, right? That's what we're ultimately trying to get the clients to talk and open up to us, so we can make sure we're the right fit and kind of go down that path together.
Yeah, good.
The showroom is all about the showroom. We have a beautiful showroom here in Roswell. Bailey saw it. You haven't seen it yet.
I have not.
Along my peer group. But yeah, so it's a really nice showroom, and I would say it's a marketing differentiator for us and how we utilize it. So what the goal I think for CGN, certainly for me, is I want people to see what it's going to be like to work with us. And so again, you're going into a strange place, talking about a lot of money. Like, I want them to see the showroom. So when you walk in, it's like, oh, I recognize this. I feel comfortable here.
Got it. Ooh, there's something I really want to ask you about. I'm going to ask you about it next. But first, we got a quick little commercial. Enjoy. Here's the truth. Traffic doesn't matter if it brings in the wrong people. At Contractor Growth Network, they help remodelers attract the right leads, the kind who already understand your value, your process, and your price range. Their SEO and web strategies are built to pre-frame your business, so when clients reach out, they're already bought in. They help businesses build confidence with marketing that you'd be proud to show off. If you're wasting hours on tire kickers or price shoppers, go to contractorgrowthnetwork.com. That's contractorgrowthnetwork.com. Stop chasing, start closing. Ooh, and we have returned. See what I did there? Keeping that little shtick going throughout. A return. We're still with Peter Ranney. Peter, the question I wanted to ask you about is, I know CGN's a big proponent of this, and I know that you have continued before, during, after of being a big proponent of the video side of things. Oh, some people, just when I say video marketing, you got to get in front of video, they start cramping up and they start freaking out. But video, capturing our projects, capturing our people, creating some B-roll footage of our showroom and our job sites can be a really helpful thing. Give us your vantage point of the process of creating some videos and kind of the results of doing that.
Well, probably similar to a website, right? You could have a website that looks beautiful and doesn't perform SEO wise, which that may be okay. Or you have a website that looks beautiful and performs SEO. Same thing with video. So it's finding someone who can, if you're going to hire someone, hiring someone who can shoot video with an intention of pushing kind of the message and the approach and the brand you're looking for. And that's what we did. I mean, that's what CGN did with us. And it was really, again, it wasn't just like, oh, we're going to shoot this, this, and this. I mean, it was like we had several calls and going through, how do you operate? What's your approach? They really went way more in depth than I would ever imagine. So when we actually go to shoot the content, it was much more valuable. And really, I think they're actually going to come back and do a showroom video. So we don't push out as much video as I think we used to. Where I use video more now is Loom with clients, which is amazing to walk through things. But you don't have to get crazy with video by any means, but it's nice it's like a little bit of everything, right? And this video is just a nice other way for people to digest your information, because you need written text, need video.
Yeah, and just when you arrive at your website, to have that video playing, to have kind of that B-roll footage, people to be friendly, seeing some clients. There's a lot of, and you've already mentioned this in a few different ways, there's a lot of emotion in it, in a good way. Instead of just the static, here's another beautiful picture of a finished kitchen. No, like there's people in their kitchen with, oh, that's Peter there. Oh, they're interacting. It just, it elevates the, it elevates the feel of it. And frankly, again, good marketing attracts and repels. That attracts more of a discerning, more of your ideal client of who you're going for. And yes, Loom, Loom, is an amazing way to kind of record your screen, maybe record a proposal or a design, and can really help you in kind of your sales and marketing efforts.
Yeah, definitely.
Love it. Love it. So kind of some of the results or some of the impact of the CGN website, of getting it going, maybe even mentioning a little bit of, has there been some results around the search engine optimization and the ranking? You're in a pretty popular area there. Talk about some of the kind of the results and impact.
Well, it was interesting. When we first started talking to CGN, and we're kind of figuring out, are we going to work with them or not? We looked in the area, in the Atlanta area, there weren't really hardly any people doing SEO with any significance. And we found that interesting because we're called a bigger market, the biggest city in the Southeast, at least. In Atlanta. So we're a little bit north of Atlanta. So we don't work in Atlanta, but still nonetheless. But so for us, it was like, how do we actually make a push to kind of like get the SEO up? So it was a focus of ours. We wanted to get better at it. Logan's going to kill me because I don't remember the stats. But every month it's just up, 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 up. And we've actually started tracking our leads source and JobTread with the new dashboards that came out. Totally awesome, by the way, if you haven't set those up and if you're a JobTread user. But it's really interesting to see the majority of our leads come from Google. That's good and bad, right? Because, what we're trying to create is the referral lead. But again, the website should be a replication of who you are to replicate a referral client. Yeah. So you get a couple here and there. Like I talked to Leigh yesterday, not a fit. But I said, hey, no problem. Let me actually give you a number or someone else. She's like, oh, this is amazing. Thank you so much. She left with a great experience.
You serve them.
Right. So you get some of that, but by and large, most of our leads come from Google, and it's really, it's great, right? Because we're spending money on SEO and you're getting results. The other benefit of SEO is it's all your content, your stuff, right? So if for some reason, you have to break up your marketing company, which I would never anticipate doing with CGN, but it's your stuff. Like it's got longer legs. But you still have to tweak it and maintain it, update it. So it's not just you can turn, unplug and it's like coast forever. They are constantly going back into the blogs that they post for us and modifying and tweaking it. And now with the advent of AI and all the searching what people do, that's a whole new kind of part of SEO that is, new frontier. So
yeah. And I think most remodelers, you're going to continue, you and others are going to continue. You're going to get referrals. You're going to get that previous client that refers them to a friend, to a neighbor. Those are going to naturally happen as you perform well for your clients. And just over time, years in business, referrals are going to come. Maybe some from strategic partners. Oh, they saw your job site sign. Like there's ways that we're generating it. But to continue to grow your business, or if leads are a little harder to come by, generating leads from your website is, yes, they're not going to close quite as well as a very warm referral, but they can be a huge aspect of helping you grow your business. So, if you're listening to this, pay attention to where are you ranking right now. Go into Google Analytics. Pay attention to, do you have more traffic coming to your website now than 6 months ago? How are things converting? Do you have some things on your website to help enhance the conversion of that visitor to somebody signing up for an email or somebody filling out the actual form? Or to your point, are we tracking this as well? You're talking about a dashboard in JobTread to give you some more clarity on how many leads are we generating, where are they coming from? That's very valuable. That's professional marketing versus kind of amateur marketing, if you will.
Yeah. It's been good. I mean, I think we've already had over 100 leads this year. So if you do the math, that's what, is that 20 a month? No, a little bit less, but you get.
Weren't you a CPA before you did remodeling?
The number one rule of accounting is don't trust head math.
Oh.
Always use the calculator and print a tape, and then you put the tape on your work to prove your work.
We're going 100 divided by almost 6 months. We're going 17 a month. You were close. Mm-hmm. You were close enough for government work, as they say.
I mean, it's not quite one a day, but it's consistent, right?
Yeah, that's powerful. I sometimes, yes, AI is going to tweak and change things. I think Logan's actually come out with some content. Actually, if you just search Contractor Growth Network in your favorite podcast app, they've had some podcasts that they've released recently around kind of SEO and AI. Crap, do we even need to rank in Google? Do I need Google reviews? Well, guess what? AI is pulling that data from a lot of our efforts that we do on Google reviews. That's part of the, it's going to be ever changing. But even today on June 25th, 2025, 6/25/25, nice little date there. Even today, it is, like that number one organic listing, kitchen remodeling, Atlanta, Georgia, kitchen remodeling, Roswell, Georgia, is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Like that is a very valuable ranking right there. So to kind of consider that when you look at what you're thinking of investing in SEO, like there's a value to being listed there and being listed number 1 or 2 and getting people to click on there and generating leads through that. So kind of keep that in mind as you look at the overall investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So what are you kind of doing as a revamp or kind of an update to things? You were talking about USP, et cetera, unique selling proposition.
Yeah, we went through our unique selling proposition, pretty in-depth exercise that Logan has, several pages of kind of really digging deep and going, who are we, and who do we want to be, who do we want to attract, who do we not, repel, all that good stuff. So and taking that and then infusing it into our services. So certainly we have the process page, and that's fine. I don't think a lot of people care what your process is. You just have one. But more importantly, again, how do we address their fears of what's going to happen or not going to happen when they go to remodel? And we have the answers, and that's the whole premise of the book. They ask, you answer. Mm-hmm. And so if we can just simply answer the questions that they're asking, right, it's going to just boost your credibility and expertise. And that's kind of the summarization of it. I mean, we spent a few days, not every single day, but several hours and several days hours each day, kind of working through that. And it's really interesting, right? Because you start evaluating who you want to be, and you start realizing that customer I had last year, that's why I didn't work out, because they're not on my list. And then you got to stick to your list. No, it's not hard and fast, but it's certainly, if they're not majority in this box that I just painted for myself, say no.
Yeah. And trust that the right ones are going to come along. I was just clicking on your contact us page. I added this last year, and I think it's been helpful. Like on my contact us, there's a little video that just says, all right, you're about to fill out this form. Like what happens next? And I think it's been helpful. It just put, again, is this guy going to sell the crap out of me? Like, what is he just going to add me to 10 lists? Like what's going to happen? Yes and yes, folks. Yes and yes, that will happen. No, it's not. But I think it helps. And then I clicked on yours. It's like ready to talk. Here's two options. Schedule a video call. Video calls are best if you desire a face-to-face connection to have your questions answered with a more in-depth personal touch. That right there is already kind of lessening. I kind of know what to expect, and it's friendly there. Or if you prefer a phone call, you can schedule a phone call right here. Click here, schedule it, or you can fill out this form. I think looking at the pages of our website, and I think a whole thing that you've been talking about here that I think CGN really focuses on is it's not about us. It's about the client. It's about the prospect. How do we build know, like, and trust with them? How do we educate them? And how do we make this big, intimidating thing of remodeling, which is the feeling that a lot of these folks have, into something that goes, you know what? I feel comfortable reaching out to these folks. They've already expressed this. They've already explained this. I understand that. It's a pretty friendly way of reaching out to them. That is going to enhance the conversion. That's going to enhance the leads that you generate. So
when you think about like the platitudes we all put on our website, right? 30 years experience, veteran owned, women owned, right? Those are all things, but it's like, great. If you're a woman owned business, for example, right? Why does that matter to the client? Mm-hmm. And that's a really strong appeal. So, dig into that, right? Yeah. I'm a woman-owned business, therefore I understand whatever, right? Renovating a kitchen with, dealing with 30 years experience. Great. How does that make your client experience better? How does that serve the client? Who cares? It's like, what does it matter? Yep. Right. But if you can say we have 30 years experience, and we've kind of got, right. Those are things that's what the USP really digs into, is like taking it from a platitude to an actual thing where it benefits working with the client.
I like that. Cool. Anything else you would care to add to? I feel like we gave a lot of tidbits, a lot of experience points there, a lot of things to emphasize there. What would you have in conclusion, fine sir?
Well, I think in conclusion, the one thing we are updating with CGN is our contact form. Nothing's going to change as far as the fields. What is going to change on the back end, we currently have no analytics to figure out, did someone stop somewhere, right? Did they get all the way through and go, so they abandoned the form? So I want to get more information. And that's where, again, if you're able to track people through your website, ultimately, of course, in your contact form, and I think they're using Zoho forms is the ones they're using for my site. And it's going to all connect to job treads. So it's all the same thing there. Yep. But don't track too much data, but track some.
Yeah, I like that. Don't get it. Yeah, there's some people that get a little too granular, but just a little KPI here and there, it goes a long ways. So we talked a lot about Contractor Growth Network. That's contractorgrowthnetwork.com. And then check out Peter's website and learn from it a little bit, RanneyBlair.com. And then don't forget, RemoDelersOnTheRise.com as well, folks. And actually, Logan and his team from CGN will be at the Rise conference coming up in August. Peter will also be there. It's going to be a great couple days of learning and networking and growing. So we hope to see you there. Go to RemoDelersOnTheRise.com and click on the Rise conference. Peter, thank you so much for sharing your experience, a little bit on all things marketing, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.